Good day guys, in this video we'll be talking on decision making in C. For decision making in C, it's going to be split into the if, else, the nested if statement, and then the switch statement. So decision making is just a way of telling your program to do certain thing at some certain occurrence or a given condition. So you tell your program that okay, when there is this particular condition, when this is actually happening, when something is true or false, it should actually do something. So we are going to be starting with the if statement. So for if statement, the syntax is you have your if, then you open and close round brackets, and then a curly braces afterwards. So this is it, the if, your open and close round brackets, then from anything from the opening of this curly braces down to the closing of this curly braces is going to run as long as this condition inside this round bracket is true. So first up, let's have some variables. Let me say int a is equals to 466, and then int b equals, let me say 365. Yeah, okay. So now we have two variables, integer data types. One has the value of 466, which is a, and the other has 365. So now to tell my program to do something when, so I want to compare these two programs now, because most times you're using the if statement. Is that you're always working on relation, like you're relating one or two things together to see possible outcome. Then you let your program know what it should do depending on the outcome of the condition, depending on the result of the condition. So now a is 466, b is 365, and I want to confirm that okay, if a is greater than b, my program should tell me that a is greater than b. So here I'll write it inside of this round bracket where my condition is going to be. My condition is going to always be inside the round bracket. So here I'll specify that okay, if a is what greater than b, what should my program do? It should what? Let me do print what? A is greater than b. So if I run this program here now, F9, you're going to see it has printed to the screen a is greater than b. And the only reason why it's printing this to the screen is because this our condition is true. Because yes, for sure, a is greater than b. 466 is definitely greater than 365. So that is the only reason why this code inside of this curly braces is running. So if I change this now to, let me tell my program that okay, if a is less than b, we should print this. And as you all know, like as you can see in the program, a is what? 466, b is 365. So 466 is in no way greater than less than 365. It is greater than 365 instead. So me running this is not going to generate anything to my screen. As you can see, it just blank because I didn't tell my program to do anything concerning, like, this condition is not true. So that is why it is not running it. So if I have another if statement here and I say okay, if my round bracket and my curly braces, let me say if a is greater than, or let me say if b is greater than 200, it should what? Print what? B is larger than 200. So running this program now is not going to run this first program because a is not less than b. So the only time anything inside of this curly braces in your if statement is going to run is if and only if the given condition inside here is true. So from here, a is 466, b is 365. 466 is not less than 365. So the program will just skip this and it won't run it. When I comes here again and it says okay, if b is greater than 200, so it goes back to b. That okay, what is b? It sees that b is what? 365. So the condition is if b is greater than 200, yes, 365 is greater than 200, then it's going to run this particular program inside here. So running this now is going to generate b is larger than 200. You see, it ignored the first one, it didn't run the first one. So me now changing this first one now back to greater than, let me put a new line here. You're going to see what it's going to generate. It's going to generate the result for the 2 because yes, a is greater than b and what? B is also greater than 200. So that is for if statement. Now as you can see in if statement here, if when we used the less than symbol, then it didn't run anything. There was no display because what? A is not less than b, and the program didn't know what to do if a is not less than b. So you specify that okay, if A is less than B, should do this. Well, now A is not less than B, so the program cannot run this. So in that case, if you want to give a condition and a contradicting condition, is when we use the if-else statement. So if-else statement is okay, you have a condition. I'll tell the program that if that condition is true, it should do something. Otherwise, it should do another thing. So now I'm telling my program here now that okay, if A is less than what B, I should say what A is. Let me change this. A is less than B. Then if I now want to come here and give it another condition that okay, come if A is now greater than B, instead it should print A is greater than B. So instead of me coming down here and writing another if A greater than B, it should print what? Print A is greater than B. So running this time is going to generate A is greater than B for sure. Yes, it generated A is greater than B. But you could as well do this in another way that is more, that will save your time and is much more optimized. So instead of writing this whole condition again, because yes, less than is the opposite of greater than. If 10 is greater than 11, if 10 is greater than 9, then definitely 9 is less than 10. You get, there are only two ways about it. Either one is this or it has an otherwise. So in that kind of sense, you're going to be using the if-else statement. Because yes, if A is not less than B, then definitely A is greater than B. Unless in the case of A is less than or equal to B, and that's why we use A is equal to B, and that's why we have the else if statement. Else if, yeah, it's also part of the if else statement too. So we'll talk on that one too soon. So now we have just two conditions here, A less than B and A greater than B. So instead of writing this, I could just come here and tell my program, okay, else. That is the syntax. So anything from the opening of this curly braces for else to the closing of this curly braces for else is going to run as long as A is not less than B. So I'm telling my programmer that if A is less than B, meaning if this condition is true, do this. But then if the program finds the value of A 6466 and it finds the value of B 6365 and it does 466 less than 365, or 466 is not less than 365, so instead of running this, it's just going to jump to this else statement and see, okay, what should I do if this condition is not true? So in that case, we want to what? Print, let us print A is greater than B. So running this now is going to generate A is greater than B to the screen. So, and this is good because I can as well just change the value of both of them. In this case, I can make B now greater than A, and you see it's going to generate the less than for this. Why? Because if the program wants to read this now with these values are here, if A is less than B, so A now is 4, is less than what? 35, and definitely 4 is less than 35, so it's going to just print this one. It's going to run from here down to here, and it's going to ignore this else statement because this condition is true. So let's run this now and see our result. And as you can see here, A is less than B, which is very, very true because 4 is less than 35. So for exceptional cases, when you have like just 3 conditions, just like I explained before, if you have two numbers, if you have 10 and 9, 10 can, if 10 is greater than 9, yes, and the other way around is just that definitely 9 is less than 10. But then what if the number 9 is a number that can change, like anybody can input the number and the person mistakenly chooses 10? So in that case, you're going to be having 3 conditions there, meaning either 10 can be greater than the number, or 10 can be less than the number, or then 10 can be equal to the number. Yes, 10 can be equal to the number. So if the person randomly chooses 25, then in that sense, the 10 is less than what? The number, which is 25. If the person randomly chooses 4, definitely 10 is greater than the number, which is 4. 10 is greater than 4. But then if the person randomly not chooses the number that was given as a condition, which is 10, then you can't say 10 is greater than 10. You can't say 10 is less than 10. So for that instance, you need an else if statement to give the computer another option that, okay, once this happens, it should do this particular thing. So for that, I'm going to say else if 10 is equal to 10, then you should return yes, this number are equal. You get? So now we have A less than B, and we have the else statement telling it, okay, if it is greater than B, and then putting the if else statement is going to be in this place. So the same way we wrote this else statement. So I'm going to clear it now. After the close of this else curly braces, you just put else, then if, then a round bracket, and then a round bracket and then a curly braces. So inside of this else if round bracket is now we're going to specify that particular condition. So in our case we're going to say what A is equals to what B. So the double equals to, as you know, a single equals to is for assignment operation, and the double is equals to is for what? Relational. I'm trying to relate A and B together to see if they are the same. So I'm going to now say for A, okay, show what? Print what? A is what? Equal to B in this case. So now I'm not telling my computer that, okay, fine, this program just reads, okay, if A is less than B, it should print what? A is less than B. In this case, 4 is less than 35, so you're going to print it. But then if I now put both of them to have the same value, like 35 and 35, the program first sees the first one, A less than B. No, 35 is not less than 35. So you're going to what? Jump to this second condition here, which is what? Else if A is equal to B, meaning if A and B have the same value, which is 35 and 35. So it's going to run everything from the opening of these curly braces down to the end of these curly braces. And we are now going to end this with what? An else statement to state the overall otherwise, that okay, fine, if A is now greater than B, if A is not less than B and A is not equal to B, then it means A is greater than B. Because yes, 10, if 10 is not less than 10 and 10 is not equal to, sorry, if 10 is not less than 9, yes, 10 is not equal to 9, then definitely 10 is greater than 10. So this else statement, this last else statement, to take that value of if the first two are not true. So in this case, I'm going to be printing what? A is greater. We're going to be printing A is greater than B. So running this code now, you're going to generate the equal to. As you can see, A is equal to B, because we specify that particular condition that, okay, if both values are equal, then you should run what is inside this else if statement. So that is for the if else and else if statements. Now for the nested if, is now that you're having if statement or if else statement inside another if else statement. You're having if statement inside another if else statement. So now let's still continue with this example. Now I'm having this A is less than B, which is okay, let me change this 35 now to 40. So in this case, 40 is going to be greater than 35, meaning it's going to run this last code. Let's run it first and see. As you can see, A is greater than B. Yes. So now let's work with this for the nested if statement. So inside of the else statement, inside this, from this opening tag to the closing tag, is where I'm going to put another if else statement. That's what we call nested if, meaning another if else another decision making condition inside another decision making condition. So again, I'm going to tell my program also again that, okay, well, come if. So let me now say, okay, if what? Let me say if. Let me first get the difference between both of them. Let me get the difference between the A and the B, since this last condition is for A being greater than B. So let me do something like C in C is equal to what? A minus B. This is because A is going to be greater than B. So I'm trying to get the value of the difference between them. So 40 minus 35, I'm going to be getting 5. So now I'm now going to tell my program another. I want to now specify an if statement for my program. Now, okay, if C is what? Greater than, let's say 4. Okay, let's say 5. Let's say 4. If C is greater than 4, then what? It should print the difference is much. Do you understand? So now I will now say else, meaning what? If C is less than 4, if C is greater than 4, the difference is much. Sorry. If C is greater than 4, the difference is much. Then if C is less than 4, that's for the else statement. Then I should print what? The difference is, let me copy this. And I should print the difference is small. Then I'm going to also just add an else if statement here also. I'm going to add an else if statement here also, just to spice it up. So I'll say else if what? The what difference, which is C, is equal to what? 4. So yeah, I'm just going to print, okay, no much difference. Yes, I'll just print no much difference. No much difference. So now this is a nested if statement, meaning I'm having this whole thing, this if, else, if, and else, or it can be if and else, it can just be if and else statement, but I'm having one decision making condition inside what another. So first up, this will only run if and only if the code reaches here, meaning if this condition is not true and this condition is not true, and then the program runs this condition, that is when this one inside here can run. So running this now, let's see our result. As you can see, we first printed what a is greater than b, which is true. 45 is greater than what 30, and sorry, 40, yeah, was it 45 and 30? I'm coming, sorry. Yeah, 40 is greater than 35. Yeah, so it ran the a is greater than b, and then because 40 minus 35 is what 5, then we told it here in the program. I can remember that we said what print the difference is much if the difference is more than 4, which is here. The difference is more than 4, so that what is here, the difference is much. So now let's try to put a number that is like, let's try to change this 35 to 36. So the difference between both of them is 4, so our expected value should be what, no much difference. So now let's run this now and see what it will give us. As you can see here, a is greater than b, yes, and then what, no much difference. So for the other last one, which is the else statement, meaning okay, if the difference is not greater than 4 and the difference is not equal to 4, meaning the difference is smaller than 4, it should run the difference is small. So now let's change this 36 to 39. Let's make it very close, which is the difference between them is 1. So running this now is going to generate the difference is small, as you can see it here, because the difference between a and b is 1, but a is still greater than b. So that is for the nested if statement. Now going to switch statements. Let's quickly brush up the switch statement. Sorry, let's brush switch statement. So for switch statement is that you are given a condition, and then you know some possible values of that condition. You know a certain range where the condition can turn out to. Like you're using switch statement for like probably day of the week or day of the month, or something that is kind of definite that you are sure of the possible outcome. Then you give your program a condition, you give your program some things to follow if that particular condition is true. So let's start with, let's give a variable, let's use grade. Grade is equals to what, let's just give a student any score, let me say 66. So now in uni or school system in Nigeria, mostly in Nigeria school system, from 70 to 100 is A, 60 to 69 is B, 60 to 69 is B, yes, 50 to 59 is C, then 45 to 49 is D, then what am I saying? 55 to 60 is C, yes, 50 to 54 is D. What am I saying? Pardon me, please. This school system is fucked up. If you comment it out, so I know what I'm saying. A is what, 70 to 100, yes. Then B is equal to B is 60 to 69. Then C, I'm not confused here. C is 40. Okay, I think C is 55 to 59, if I'm not mistaken. Then D is equal to D is I'm mistaken for it. D is anyways. Yeah. Okay, no, I think C is 50 to 59. Yes, then D is 45 to 49, sorry. Then E is 40 to 44, yes. Then F is anything less than 40. F is 0 to 39. Yeah, at last. Sorry about that, sorry, pardon me. So this is how we are going to do it now. So you can use switch statement for this because you know all your possible outcome. You know, okay, you have 70 to 100, you have 60 to 69, 50, you have this range of numbers. So now if you want to use switch statement, this is how the syntax looks like. You first say switch, then inside of this round bracket is going to be the variable or the parameter you want to check for. In our case is what, grade. Then you are going to open and close a curly braces. Inside of these curly braces, you're now going to have something called cases. So we say what case what? Let's say case 1. Just to show you guys the syntax the way it is. Okay, so here we are. This is how the switch statement looks like. So this is our switch. Let me paragraph this. So this is how switch statement looks like. You have your switch, then whatever parameter you want to check for, you open your curly braces and close it here, and then you have different cases, and after that you have a default. So the cases is for, okay, if you can find this in grade, like if you have this as a value of grade, then you should do something. If you have this as a value of grade, then do something, and it would break out of that condition. And the default is just, okay, if you have 5 or more than, like, let's say you have 3, 4, 5 cases, so the default is more like the else statement in if else. Like, okay, fine, if out of these old cases you don't find anyone that matches the value of grade, then just state that one there. You understand? So now let's start. Okay, so for these parameters, switch statement is definitely not going to work, because I told you switch is when you have a list of known value. You know what your values are going to be. But yes, we know what our values are going to be. We know the scores can't exceed 100, as in the case of grade. But you have to specify different cases from 0 to 100. Meaning, if someone scores 0, it should do this. If someone scores 1, it should do this. Let me run like 66, for example, because we chose 66. So printing, let me now print what? You add a B grade. So running this now is going to run you add a B grade, because our value for grade is what? 66. Running this now is going to generate you add a B grade, as you can see it here. But if I change this now to 67, you see that it's not going to run. Running this now, see, it's empty, because I didn't specify what it should do for the value of what? 67. So if I change it now to 67, it's going to what? Generate that same thing. You add a B grade. So in this case, we can't use this for switch case because it's going to be long. So what we can just do is can change this grade to a char system, and let's just do the direct grading. As you know, for grade cannot be more than A, B, C, D, E, and F. Yes, that it can't go more than A, B, C, D, E, F. So we want to now generate for things of, if you have an A, then it's an excellent score. The B, and very good. The C, let's say good. The D, let's say fair, something like that. So let's go. Let me just clear this thing here. So A is what? Excellent. B is very good. C is, let's just put good. Then the D is fair. The E is poor. I think this is how Nigeria's school system looks like. Then the F is fail. So now let's switch cases for every value of grade. So for this case, yeah, for here, the example I cited, we didn't use apostrophe for our cases, and that is because we're considering numbers before. So now we're considering characters, we have to use apostrophe. So the first case is what? A. Let me print what? You add an A grade. Let me then put a new line and say an excellent performance. So let me copy this now. So the other case we have, let me just copy these cases now. We have, then go for the other cases. So this is case A. Here is going to be case B. Here is case C, case D, case E. Then okay, let's just put the default as what? The failure. So for default, I'm going to just be leaving it, meaning if the person does not have A, B, C, D, and E, then any other thing, which is going to be most likely F, is going to run in this default. So let me say you had an F grade. It was a failure performance. That's going to be rude. A failure performance. You had an E grade here. It was a poor performance. Then you had an A D grade, sorry. Even this is a is it a F grade and an F grade, whatever. It was a fair performance. Is this fair or poor? Okay, D is fair, yeah. A fair performance. Yes, you had a C grade. It was a good performance. Then you had a B grade. And then a very good performance. So running this now, we should know our results, which is A, which is we had an A grade, an excellent performance. And that's what we have here. We had an A grade, an excellent performance. So if I change this now to C and running this, I'm going to see it's going to generate. We had a C grade, a good performance. Now let's now change it to F to test what we did for the default result. As you can see here, you had an F grade, a failure performance. So these are used the switch statements for giving conditions. Thank you and see you next time.